In this example, we want to use this table here to find various compositions. So let's take a look. In the first composition, we have f of g of 0. So let's rewrite this. It's helpful to rewrite it as f of g of 0. That's what the composition means. And the way you approach these is you work from inside out. So you start here. Okay, so the way this is going to work, g of 0 is going to equal some y, and then that y is going to be fed into f, and it's going to spit out the answer. All right, so let's see here. So we'll start from the inside. Okay, so g of 0. So we go to the x. This is our x here, 0, and we're putting that into g. So here we go. Oh, here's 0 for x, and we put it into g, so we get -2. Okay, so that's our start. We have g of 0 equals -2. Okay, that's the first step, right? That's all we need from that. Now we go on to the f part. We've decided that this whole thing here is -2. So now we're asking f of -2 equals what? Okay, back to our table here. So now x is -2, and we're putting it into f, there we go, 0. So f of -2 is indeed 0, and that is our final answer. That's where it stops. So you just kind of chase this thing around the table like that until you run it through all the functions involved. Let's try b. B says g composed with f of -1. All right, so let's write that in this of notation, so to speak, g of f of -1. Okay, so step 1, we do the inside. Always start with the inside first and then work your way toward the outside. So let's erase what I have on the table here. Just start fresh with a fresh table. Okay, f of -1. Okay, so what this tells us is x is -1. So we go to -1 on the table, we plug it into f, 1. Okay, so this whole thing equals 1. So now we have g of 1 equals what? Okay, working from the inside out, back to the table, we start fresh, forget everything, start fresh. G of 1, okay, so now I find 1 in the x, right? Here's 1, because remember this is our x, and we go down to g, -3, right? 1 goes to -3, so our answer to the second one is -3. There we go, -3. It seems overwhelming, but if you just take your time and follow the table through, it's not so bad. Now C looks really crazy. F of g of -1. Okay, same approach. Start with the inside, work your way out. Okay, so let's start with the inside. Notice here we have x, so we go to our table. X is -1. Up to our table, we find x is -1. We're going down to g, so g here is 0, right? So this first step is 0. So let's rewrite what we have so far. So now we have f of g of 0. Just take your time with this, rewrite it when you need to. Start again with a fresh table. Erasing everything on the table, start fresh. G of 0, 0, we go down to g, -2. All right, so now we decided that all this is -2. So that leaves us with f of -2. Now here's our new x. All right, our new x is -2, so I'm going back to the table, take a fresh start, erasing everything on there, a fresh look at the table. All right, so I find -2 in the in the x, and then I go to x, 0. All right, so this whole thing equals 0. There you have it. Take your time, follow this thing around the table. Once you know how to do these, they're actually kind of fun.